Hey guys, Nike here, and today I want to talk about the Guild Wars 1 economy, how it works, why, and followed by some methods for newer players to engage with it. The most important thing to understand is that each character has a limit of 100 platinum that they can have on them, and your bank can only hold 1,000 platinum. This means that the biggest cash trades a player can do is 100 platinum. Considering that many high-end items cost multiples of 100 platinum, this makes using cash inefficient for endgame trading. As a result, players have adapted to using rare resources to facilitate high-end trades. The two currencies of choice are globs of ectoplasms and arm braces of truth. Globs of ectoplasm are a rare material drop that comes from some mobs in the underworld, and from the end chest after defeating Doom in the underworld. Their intrinsic value comes from the fact that they are a required material to craft obsidian armor from the Fissure of Woe. Ecto was once relatively easy to solo farm, but it's significantly harder to do it now comparatively to the 55 monk days of yore. So Ecto has retained a lot of value despite the demand decreasing somewhat. Arm Braces of Truth are an item obtained in the Domain of Anguish in exchange for sets of the gemstones that you receive for completing sub-areas within the Domain of Anguish. Arm Braces' intrinsic value stems from the fact that they can be traded for tormented weapons. While some people value the tormented weapons for their aesthetics, the actual value is that they can be added to the Hall of Monuments, and there is a steady demand of people who want tormented weapons to fill out their hall. One arm brace tends to be worth many ectos. The current rate at the time of this video is around 25 ectos per arm brace. This results from the fact that it is quite challenging and grossly inefficient to solo farm arm braces, so they are generated almost exclusively from group play, usually speed runs. Beneath these currencies, there are other dynamics at work. With Eye of the North, ANET added extremely overpowered consumables known as consets. These are group-wide buffs that add tremendous power to your team. Every speed clear or solo farmer uses consets, and they are crafted using basic materials. These function essentially as a sink for basic materials and give basic materials a value beyond crafting the, basic armors. With the recent influx of new players with Reforged, more materials are entering the economy than consets are leaving it. So material prices have dropped, and thus consets have also dropped in price to use. This may not last forever, and the current low prices to craft consets shouldn't necessarily be taken as a given. The next leg of the economy is based around the vendors: runes, materials, rare materials, dyes, and rare scrolls. These are all player-driven to an extent and is primarily cash-based as you exchange these items for plat or vice versa. It should be noted that since ectos are available on the rare material trader, it allows the price of ectos to float freely in the economy. Whereas if ectos were 100% player direct trade like arm braces, the price would be probably a bit higher per ecto and also more stable. It's important to understand that most of the endgame for the average player in Guild Wars 2 is based around Hall of Monuments or Pursuit of Gwam. This means that items that can be used to further your progress towards these goals have intrinsic value, not just the tormented weapons that we discussed, but also alcohol, party favors, sweets, most of which can be gotten as drops during festivals, have a steady tradable value as a result of Gwam, and as those items are also sold on a vendor from the merchant, that sort of puts a higher end cap on their prices, unless they do some other beneficial effect, like, for example, birthday cupcakes, which makes them useful for players to use as a buff. This pursuit of Gwam and Hall of Monuments is why many things like birthday minis and materials for oppressor weapons or destroyer weapons and exotic armor sets retain value in excess of their demand based purely from aesthetic desirability. So, How can a new player with few resources engage with the economy? This is a topic that, quite honestly, I could fill multiple videos doing, but I'll try to give you a quick and broad overview. One of the most frequent pieces of advice you will hear from veterans is to tell new players to farm Nick gifts, which is a great way to make money that doesn't require much investment. Some Nick gifts are easier to farm for others, but they generally aren't hard, and you can sell a Nick gift for around 5 or 6 ectos each. This means that each week you can potentially farm 25 to 30 ectos worth of Nick gifts. Newer players who are still gearing themselves in their heroes should definitely consider doing this. Just 1 week of Nick gifts is enough to fully gear out 1 or 2 heroes, and that seems like a great idea. The second thing I will mention is that there's a thriving market for weapon mods. The demand for weapon mods to allow people to complete builds and gear their heroes is huge. Early on in your progression, you are likely to be a buyer, but once your heroes are mostly geared up and your build is done, you will be a seller in the market. I can't explain what every single mod is worth, but if you look at the meta player builds for PvE and the meta hero builds for PvE, you can see what mods are going to be in high demand. Something simple that you may overlook, like a Zealous Dagger mod, can sell for 2 to 4 ecto each. Another thing that is very common, but that you frequently might overlook, is a 20% Adept Staff Head can sell for 4 ecto. Being able to pick up rares off the ground and identify which mods are worth keeping is absolutely vital. Otherwise, you will sell a rare for 300 gold at the vendor versus salvaging a mod worth 4 ecto off of it, which is a huge loss. And over time, being able to sell these in-demand mods is going to help you ascend to the quote-unquote middle class. Selling mods usually means sitting in Commandant and waiting to see someone want to buy something that you have in your bank. This is tedious and time-consuming and a bit of a rat race, but there are toolbox tools that you can use that will filter Commandant chat for keywords that you input, like specific mods that you have that you know are popular. And when someone asks to buy that mod, you will get a notification no matter where in the game you are, and you can whisper them and meet and make the trade. This makes the market quite a bit more liquid. Lastly, I should mention some mods that are worth significantly more than the 4 ecto that we've been talking about, such as the Of the Ranger and Of the Necromancer weapon mods that go on, and along with any other thing that goes on meta Mesmer hero builds like Aptitude Not Attitude insignias and the Forget Me Not insignia or inscriptions. Can be worth upwards of 20 ecto or more. These are very significant drops when you get them, and you should be aware of their value. Unless you're rich, you should 100% sell them and use the funds to buy crafted 40/40 sets for your heroes. Lastly, farming the endgame is where the upper class of wealth is generated from. Speedruns and group play is the king, although many solo farms are very, very time efficient at making money too. Generally speaking, this group of players already have their HOM done for years and years, and they have all the GWAMs they desire, so their real economic contribution is generating things like ectos, arm braces, and rare skins like the Doom Scythe, Bone Dragon Staff, Zodiac weapons, and Obsidian edges, or mass festival drops from solo farms and selling stacks of pecans. These players contribute by adding adding prestige and high-end items to the economy, while consuming consets to help drain materials from the low end of the economy. Now, if this interests you, by no means should you wait to finish GWAM or HOM to engage with endgame group farms or solo farms if that sort of content interests you. If you want to speedrun farm or do solos to build up wealth and then do GWAM, that's totally acceptable. One caveat I will stress for a new player, especially ones coming from Guild Wars 2, is that doing these things has a significant knowledge check. Unlike Guild Wars 2 Endgame, you cannot quote unquote fake it till you make it, as you frequently find in Guild Wars 2 Pugs. If you show up with the wrong build for a speedrun, you will not get in the group. If you do the wrong thing in the instance or something that your role is not expected to do, or you do it wrong, you will die and you will jeopardize the entire run for the others. If you want to engage in this sort of content, you must study how it's done, what exact builds are used and how and why, and also seek out training groups that will show you the ropes. It has a relatively high barrier to entry, but that barrier is what makes it possible to get rich from doing it. Anyway, guys, that's it for me. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them below. I'd like to hear what you have to say, and I will see you guys next time.